Guys, welcome back to another video. Happy Saturday. I just want to say thank you if you're tuning in live, or if you see this after, we're going to have some fun. So today what we're going to be doing is going through some TryHackMe rooms from from like red teaming with KevTech. And if you don't know KevTech, he's awesome. He does a lot of Active Directory, Office 365, and you can go check his channel out. I'll put it in the description or we'll put it in the chat. So, I just want to say, first of all, I know there was a lot of folks that were looking forward to live last week, and I apologize because I was using StreamYards, and me and Kevin tried to literally troubleshoot that thing for like 30 minutes, and I couldn't get my camera to work. So here we are on the 25th of June. So thank you for the patience, and thank you, Kevin, when I bring you on, for rescheduling and giving me your time. So I have this schedule for like an hour, from 11 to 12, but it may go over. So I just want to put that out there. Maybe it'll go to like maybe 1 o'clock. I don't really want to exceed 2 hours. That's pretty much what my intentions are for today. But I want this to be as interactive as possible. I'm not going to just zoom through these TryHackMe rooms and just say, okay, what is a red teaming engagement? This is what it is. I want this to be interactive. So when I share my screen, Kevin and I are, we'll go through this together. And so let me bring him in and let's have some fun. Hey, what's up, Kev?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Hope you're having a good day.
Good, man. How's everything? Before we get started, how's your day? How's life?
Good. Everything's good, man. Just having coffee. Can't complain.
Nice. Good. So, what do you entail? Like, what is your intention for today? Like, what do you want to see? What do you think the audience would like to go over with the red team? Like, what do you think they should get out of it, and what do you think they want to get out of it?
I think they should understand what you said earlier. We spoke earlier. What is like the difference between a vulnerability and the difference between a pen test? Because a lot of people get lost on that. We should also try to explain something in a non-tech way for some people that are brand new to the red team stuff, because they probably don't even know what that is. Like, what the hell is red team? Like red, and then there's blue, right? Like, what does that even mean? That's number two. And then number three is that I talk about, and I think Cyber Warrior talks about this too. Cyber Warrior Studios, I'm going to throw him in there. He talks about how important it is, if you're a red team person working in red team stuff like a pen tester, you should understand blue team stuff, or vice versa. You should understand the combination of both, because then it makes you well-rounded. So I don't know if you want to add anything to that, but like that's what some people say, is that you should at least understand blue team stuff if you're a red team, because you should understand how it works from a defensive perspective versus an attacking perspective.
Absolutely. And I'm 100% on with Cyber Warrior and whomever else is thinking that, right? Everyone has different perspectives of getting into the field of pen testing or in cybersecurity. Maybe you've seen stuff like from our buddy Heath Adams, right? The cyber mentor. And like, I love that guy. The guy knows his stuff. I agree with a lot of stuff, almost everything he says. Like, I love what he put out the other day about getting into cyber. And it seemed like Heath, if you ever watched this, you looked like a little pissed off that morning. But, and I totally agree. Like, people say you need to do X, Y, Z in order to accomplish 1, 2, 3. I don't know. A lot of people probably may or may not know my story, right? I'm not going to get into that today, but I'm not a nerd. Behind this computer, I'm not a nerd. You know what I mean? Like, that's not me. I was never a computer person. I was never like a hermit or whatever you want to call them. Like, that's never been me. But I enjoy this stuff, and I think I'm decent at it. I'm not, the best, but I think I'm pretty good at what I do, and I enjoy it. That's the most important thing. And how I trickled into this, was from like the sysadmin network engineer, and I accidentally got into this because I got my PayPal hacked. So that's the reason how I got into cyber. So like, to have the defensive part of it, to answer feed off what Kevin was saying, yes, having the blue teaming, understanding, okay, how to, do incident response, how to respond to an incident that an attacker is doing. Because now when you try to attack, you know what the blue team is looking for. So maybe you can, invade a little bit more, be under the radar, invade that EDR, XDR, NDR, whatever kind of solution they may have, right? And this is an awesome book. I had, the Red Team Field Manual, since we were talking about red teaming. This is an awesome book. And I actually read this a little bit last night just to see if there was any cool little techniques and things I can convey today. But yeah, so let's get into it. Let me share my screen. I want to share my screen and we'll go through some TryHackMe stuff. And yeah, let me know if you guys can see everything. You can see me and Pretty Kev. And here we go. So if you guys want to follow along, you're more than welcome. Let's do it. I already did a few of the red teaming fundamentals rooms. Patrick the hacker. Yeah, stay jacked. That's my buddy. Me and him go to the gym, and yeah, we stay jacked. Stay jacked or get hacked. That's our motto. All right, who cares? But yeah, so if you go to just TryHackMe, and once you go to TryHackMe, you can just go to Learn, and in Learn you have this red teaming room or path here. You can see I have zero days, so I'm a slacker. So the first thing, let me collapse this for a second. So me and Kevin want to go through every single one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is red team fundamentals, initial access, post compromise, host invasion, network secure invasion, and Active Directory or compromising Active Directory. So obviously the first step to this, and hopefully at the end of this, we can get this little fancy certificate, which I'm 11% complete. So what is the purpose of this, right? We'll learn the core concept, the core components of red teaming engagements, right? From the threat intel to the OPSEC and C2s, command and control centers, right? So let's go ahead and click on the red team fundamentals. And the first thing here, I'm not going to go ahead and read everything. I'll just do an overview of what this is. And like I said, I want this to be interactive. So if you have any questions, if you have any questions for me, you can use this time for a questions and answers type thing as well. So, while you have me here for the next couple hours, if there's anything that you may want to know about me, red teaming, just life in general, ask away. All right. So introduction, right? So cybersecurity, this room is pretty much going to talk about different red team stuff, right? So what is the difference between a white hat hacker and a black hat hacker? There's a whole bunch of different hackers, every color in the book. So these I don't know, I want to make this a little bigger because I do have a wide screen, so maybe it's a little small for the folks out there.
Zoom in a little bit. They're asking if you could zoom in a little bit.
Okay, cool. Is that better or is it still
Looks a lot better. Looks way better.
All right, cool. All right, sweet. So what is the difference between white hat and black hat? All right, Kev, I'll pass the baton to you. What do you know, and what can you tell us about the difference between a white hat hacker and a black hat?
I have no idea.
Perfect. Love that answer. And it's always good. Kudos, dude. It's good to say, I don't know. Even if you're on an interview, because if you don't want to know about interview stuff, go over to Kevin. You can hit him up. You can just talk to him. But the best thing to do on an interview is be honest. I've been on interviews that they ask me about, for an example, SQL injections or cross-site scripting attacks. I say, I have no clue. No clue. I don't do that. I can do it. I can Google it, right? I know the OWASP top 10. I know enough to get myself in trouble. But I'd rather compromise your AD because I understand AD. I'd rather compromise, your external perimeter of your network because I understand how networks traverse data from the outside in and all that stuff. But when it comes to web stuff and coding, that's what Heath was saying. Everyone has their own path, right? And I didn't come from a development background, so I leave that to those nerds. So the white hat hacker is pretty much us, right? The legal, the ethical hackers, right? So the ones that want to get hired from companies to do ethical hacking, right? And then there's what's called a gray hat hacker. I think that's what probably 99.9% of us are, to be honest. There's no denying that. And what is a gray hat? That's pretty much in a gray area, right? It's not illegal, but it's not always ethical, right? What does this mean? If you go out and do some curiosity scanning or curiosity whatever that piques your interest, that's more on the gray scale because you didn't have permission to do so, but you're not doing anything to invade or crack into their network or whatever, whatever. And black hats are the illegal folks, right? The ones with the anonymous mask and the hoodie and they're just, hacking away for malicious intent, right? So that's the difference between those hackers. And yeah, so obviously as the cybersecurity world evolves and all that stuff, you want to specialize and allow companies, whatever. All right, so this room objective, we're going to learn the basics of red team engagements, identify the main components of and stakeholders that are involved in a red team engagement, and understand the differences between red teaming and different kind of cybersecurity engagements, right? So you just click done. There's no really questions here. And then some of the prerequisites here, before beginning this room, get familiar with the, hacking techniques. But excuse me, it's not really necessary, right? But completing the junior pen tester path would be recommended. I think even before getting into this world, this is outside of TryHackMe, understanding the fundamentals of networking, Linux, systems will make you a better, well-versed person in this field, right? I just think so. Yeah, there can be someone that was making pizzas yesterday and that's the best hacker tomorrow. But there's, needle in the haystack. I don't think I don't know. I'm not going to get on that debate. Everyone has their, all right, let me go over here. Let's see. Good morning.
Making me hungry, man. And mentioning pizza.
Yeah. Oh, isn't it? Yeah. Get that pizza, son. Yeah. I can't wait to go to DEF CON, dude. That would be fun.
Oh yeah. Some people don't know that we're both going to DEF CON.
So. Yeah. We're going to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Devin might be going too. And I hope Devin joins us, but cool. It'll be a fun time. And with DEF CON, if you guys don't know what DEF CON is, it's like a yearly conference in Vegas that, all the hackers go to. And it's a pretty big, I think it's the largest event. I think it's Black Hat is more like the sponsors, a lot of company sponsors, but then you have DEF CON that has all the, I don't know. I've never been to it. So I'm pretty stoked. I'm ready to bring, leave my credit cards and leave my cell phone at home for a couple of days. Because, your shiznit will get jacked. All right. So the next thing here, the task 2, right? We have vulnerability assessments. So I'll pass the baton to you, Kev, so you can chit chat for a bit and I can take a drink. What is a vulnerability assessment in your eyes?
Yeah, so I'll give you a real life example, but it's not really. Well, it's a vulnerability that basically when we talk about vulnerabilities, there is. So I did the Google cybersecurity course. I did some of it, the Google cybersecurity course, and it actually talks about vulnerabilities. And one of the things that I had, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but like I had a user who had a vulnerability because they got hacked through social engineering. So literally, like she got that CVS buy me a gift card because the CEO messaged her, and that wasn't the CEO, and they were spoofing his email, pretending that it was him, and it's not him. And then she clicked on the link by accident, and then she went and bought a CVS card, and she bought a bunch of them, and she had a virus on her computer. And I'm over here staring at her, and we had like 5 other people from IT staring at her, and they took away her computer, and I disabled her account in Active Directory. And she's like, "What the hell's going on?" And I told her, "Well, you got hacked, so we're gonna have to take away your computer, and you can't log in." So literally, someone compromised her PC. They put a virus on it. It was completely screwed, and she couldn't do anything about that. So for me, like vulnerability for me is going to be like some sort of like if someone creates like, I guess someone invades your computer or invades your privacy. They take over your PC, take over your machine, and they do a bunch of crazy stuff on your computer. That's for me. That's what vulnerability is. It could be more than that, obviously. There are different ways of attacking a PC, but that's just my example.
Yeah, and that's awesome. So what kind of vulnerability is that? Is the human element, right? That person exploited the human element by sending an email, the crazy Amazon CVS thing, and like click on my link, and then that connects back to a CNC server, and now I can harvest your credentials, and then, and I actually talked about this with someone previously. Like I can be Kevin at KevTech.com, and I can send it to someone and on your behalf, and that's easy. I can do that all day, right? I can make a relay server. I can whatever. This is not what this is about. But so in that sense, the vulnerability there was the human element, right? The hacker or the adversary compromised, or the email and stuff like that. So a vulnerability assessment in this example, would be, say, for example, we're going to run Qualys, Nessus, Rapid7, these kind of like assessments, assessing the network, the host, the whatever. And also you can run like something like KnowBe4 or some kind of uh, end user training, right? And send this off to the users. And if this person that got jacked and hacked, would have done some training saying, okay, understand how to look at the sender, how to look at maybe grammar or some kind of errors, or even take the header of that email and use a header analyzer and see where the data is hopping through, right? Sort of like a trace route in the networking world, right? To see how many paths it's going, what MX records that it's traversing that data, right? Where is it hitting? Because I can be sending an email from pat@pat.com to rob@pat.com. That's not going to go out of my mail server, right? That's going to stay in my mail server. So in that sense, it's a little easier to, like, is this even a word? Falsify it, like mock it, whatever. My English sucks, so if you know the word, throw it in the chat. All right. So, whoops.
Someone said it really well. Vulnerability is just a leakage on your network or on your web app.
Yeah, that's another vulnerability. Anything is a vulnerability, right? We exist. You have a connection to your internet, you have a connection to the network, you're vulnerable. Doesn't matter, you're vulnerable. So if you want to get that granular, right? So yeah. So to summarize, a vulnerability assessment is scanning the host for vulnerabilities, blah, blah, blah. So that's pretty much what they're talking about here, right? So this is the pen tester, this is the internet, this is the firewall router, and internal and public servers. This guy is going to go probably run some Nessus scans and see, on these public servers, if they're, like this guy said, if they're vulnerable, right? And spit out a pretty report and say, okay, Mr. Client, this is what you have to remediate, and we'll check back in 3 or 6 months to make sure you completed your remediation, which I probably guarantee 99% of the time you get that printout. The CISO, the CIO for that company probably puts that vulnerability assessment report right on his desk and brushes it off, and then now he just added 1 million more in the next 6 months without remediating. That's just the world we live in. Right? So next one here is penetration tests, right? This is when we actually try to actually exploit your network, exploit your systems, exploit your web apps, your mobile apps, your cars, your APIs, whatever we're trying to exploit, right? So it's like it says, attempt to exploit the vulnerability that was found, right? And like this person in Kevin's example was vulnerable because someone did some social engineering, and then someone did some reconnaissance, went on these websites on the internet and said, okay, this is the weakest link because this is Joe Blow the Idiot, right? So Joe Blow the Idiot is probably tempted to click on anything if it looks pretty, promising. Oh, win a fucking Lamborghini today, and let's enter the win. And then they enter the win, and then we got him, right? So and then you conduct a post exploitation, right? So once the host is compromised, now we'll be able to, exfiltrate data, see what other stuff is within that environment or that network or whatever we're trying to penetrate, And I guess this is a little example. Compromised host, scan host. So I'm guessing it's color coded here. So the pen tester runs, blah, blah, blah. So in this case, it compromised www using a SQL injection. Don't ask me how to do that because I've done some, like if you watch, I think Mr. Robot on my channel, when I did that, because my friend Dion was like, dude, it's an awesome show. I don't even know what Mr. Robot was. I don't know if that's a bad thing. So, and he's like, oh, before you do this box on VulnHub, like watch the show because things will make more sense. Because I don't watch much TV. If it's not hockey, I'm not interested. But yeah, so like I watched this Mr. Robot, so I knew who Elliot was, and I'm like, okay, because if I didn't watch that show, I'm like, who's Elliot? Who's this and who's that? But that had some like SQL injections, that finding some using SQL map, and it took me. I don't remember how long that video was. If anyone looks at, I think it took me like almost an hour or something like that. Which maybe some people are like, oh, that's not bad, but usually like if I'm doing a hack the box, I'll probably take 15 minutes, 20 minutes to do a box, unless I'm like filming it, right? Because then I try to explain. But if I'm just in the zone doing it, depending on how hard the box is. But yeah, that one was hard for me. Anyhow, so and the next one is compromise FTP. The FTP is easy to compromise, right? A lot of that's super simple. But for the most part, if it's just running plain text, you can just run some listeners out on the internet, and if someone authenticates to it, and usually it's in clear text, and you just run Wireshark and look at the TCP headers. But yeah, so like pen tester goes through the internet, blah blah blah. So this one, Alice's PC was compromised, and it was weak credentials. Maybe she has been pwned. If you ever use "Have I been pwned," or just leak databases on the internet, and maybe they did a little spray and pray, and the pray God answered it with some credentials. And for these public servers, whatever. Here we go. All right. Hopefully that will make sense. Any questions? Mr. Robot is amazing. Yeah, I only watched like one season. I think it was pretty cool, but you know, it is what it is. All right. So any questions as we? Yeah, yeah. You see that? I do have the Mr. Robot. Actually, the funny thing is, I didn't even know that was Mr. Robot's mask. I thought that bitch was Monopoly. You know what I mean? That was a Monopoly man for me. You know what I mean? Like that was not Mr. Robot. I had that thing for ages, right? And then like when Mr. Robot, I'm like, oh, I think I have that mask. And I thought it was like what I thought it was like from Money Heist, that show with all the red and they had the mask. That was a pretty cool show. And that's what I thought this mask was until I realized, okay, it's not. It's the Mr. Robot mask, and I don't know. But I had that mask for a minute. I love masks, as you can probably see. I have Michael back there, and I have a lot of masks. I like to hide my ugliness. But yeah, so advanced persistent threats and why regular pen testing is not enough. So how long? We've been doing this for 20 minutes already. So, time constraints, budget, limited scope, blah, 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 heavy IT focus. So obviously penetration tests are allowed. What does that mean? So if I'm lighting up your network, scanning, trying to hack your network, doing all these crazy scans or whatever, you're going to maybe an EDR or a SIM tool or whatever you're running inside your network for your defense mechanisms, it's probably going to be lit up like a Christmas tree, right? And then non-technical attack vectors might be overlooked. Look at this, attack on social engineering or physical intrusion. Just like Kevin was saying, that lady or that person got social engineered, right? All right, so advanced persistent threats, these are pretty self-explanatory. You can go read up on some APTs. All right, so here comes some questions, right? So obviously I answered some of these because I did this way before me and Kevin actually thought about doing this. So would vulnerability assessment prepare us to detect real attacks, yay or nay? No, it's not. So during a penetration test, are you concerned about no, I don't think so. Right, this is just mine. So highly organized groups, what are they known as? APTs, right? Anonymous and all these other crazy groups. All right, so that's task number 2. Now we'll go down to task number 3. Any preguntas? Any questions there? Any? No. Kev, are you on this as well?
For me, I cover more. I do more Active Directory stuff.
No, I'm saying, are you on this? Like, are you logged into TryHackMe? Are you on this page right now?
No, I'm not. I'm using your screen as a reference.
Mm-hmm.
Using your screen as a reference. But I do like to point out that people, when they ask about penetration testing, like An example, like you mentioned Heath Adams earlier, like he did pen testing physically. There's physical pen testing too. So you could pretend that you work for Time Warner Cable or Verizon or whatever, and just go in and hack the network. So that does exist. And
Yes.
people, I don't know if you remember Mike Miller, but Mike Miller, he hacked the company just by going in by having a box of donuts. It's like literally he had a box of donuts. Someone kindly opened the door for him. Oh, you got donuts for everyone? Yeah, I got donuts for everyone. He doesn't even work for the company. Literally just walked in with a box of donuts. And yeah, do you work here? He's like, he didn't say no. He just said, I bought donuts. Like he was just changing the whole conversation. And then he got into the building and he just started hacking after that. Just literally just by bringing food to the whole company. So
Yeah, I love physical engagements. I think because I like to talk, um, and I tend to, I guess, put off for like a genuine, you know, I'm a genuine person by nature, so it's like easy for me to spark up a conversation, and like yeah, like that, or you can go to like a smoke section. A lot of people go out there and smoke, and you can just go and shoot the stuff, and say, oh, like, and then tailgate right into a building, right? I've done it. I even done it before I was in this world, not even on purpose. Like I would just like go to, like for example, visit a friend, right? Like I used to go to, 10 years ago, I don't know, long time ago. Like a lot of my friends worked at call centers, and like when they were on their break, like I would be like, oh, I'll stop by. We'll get a bite to eat, and I'll just shoot the stuff while they're going in. I'm like, oh, let me go use the bathroom real quick, whatever, and I'll just tailgate them right in. And I'm like, all right, peace, son. Like later. And I'll be right at their computer. You know what I mean? Like talking to them, shooting stuff. And I don't work there. I have no business there. And back then I wasn't like in this world. So I was just there really literally to say what's up. But yeah, it's dangerous. You know what I mean? Just you have to be careful. You know what I mean? And if you're on a defense, never let just any Joe blow in, ask for credentials. Um, you know, don't be the nice guy holding the door. I'll close that door around your face. You're not coming in. Like hell no. But yeah, anyhow. So red team engagements, right? So you can these threats keep evolving, right? Every time you want to.
yeah, someone put something on the screen. You see it?
No, it's way too small.
Someone
Uh,
put, I have a question. I started learning about cybersecurity, ethical hacking, and more, but I don't know from where to start really. What should I start learning first?
all right. Yeah, I can't see it on the screen, but I can see it in the chat. So I have a question. I started cybersecurity and ethical hacking. All right, kudos for starting into the field. Um, but I don't know where to start really. What should I start first? What is your end goal, right? What is it that you want to do? If you just want to be a pen tester, like what are you trying to pen test, right? Like, are you trying to pen test networks? Are you trying to pen test websites? Are you trying to do mobile app pen testing? What are you trying to test? And then, in my opinion, understand what you're trying to test and learn that first before you try to attack it. Try to build it, right? Because it's like if I'm trying to attack Active Directory, for example, right? Like if I don't understand what FISMOs are, what anything, like if I just don't understand what a DC or a global catalog or anything is that resides on the sysadmin side, right? Like if I'm going to utilize or compromise GPP, right? Group policy preferences, because that's where some passwords are stored, right? In the old school days. So if I don't understand how to look inside of a group policy, right? If I don't even know what a group policy is, then I'm going to be screwed, right? So I think building whatever you're trying to compromise is the first move into the world of cyber, and likewise for the defense mechanism, right? The defense side, if build a server and try to secure it, and that would be my first move, right? um yeah, that's what I would say. Hopefully that's informative for you, man. Like hopefully it answers what you're looking for. But there's so many avenues. You have to pick what's right for you. Don't pick what's right for me, what's right for Kevin, what's right for the next bloke. Like pick what's right for you, and just shoot for the stars, dude. or I don't know, person, right? So yeah. Do you have any recommendations of any good courses I can buy or learn from? Yeah, there's massive. All right, my take on that, there's so many free resources, right? That I think you can get the fundamentals and understanding prior to getting into some purchasing, right? It all depends. If you're loaded, if your money bags, go buy everything. You know what I mean? But if you're not, like, maybe just go buy or go on YouTube. Like, there's so many videos on my channel. If you're trying to look for Active Directory stuff, there's Heath Adams, there's John Hammett, there's uh, Hackersploit. There's so many channels out there today, right? IPSec, if you're looking for Hack the Box, more walkthroughs, there's so many free resources to learn. I wouldn't purchase anything right up front. That's just me. Why not use YouTube University? That's where it's at, son. Like, that's what I would say, So hopefully that answers that. But if you want to buy some, obviously TCM Security has a lot of offensive stuff. If you're on a budget, then you have, like, depending if you want to get a certification, there's so many trainings. I don't want to start throwing names out because I don't want to feel like I'm favoring anyone. But just do your go do your Google dorking, Google hacking, and just go research some stuff. Kudos. Gucci. All right. So where were we at here? Sorry. Red team engaged. Okay. So we come down, obviously, we have another little diagram here. The red team pen tester, blah, blah, blah. Same kind of thing. Compromised host. So this server was compromised. This thing was compromised and accessed through the internet with credentials found on Bob's email. Maybe Bob leaked some credentials and the hacker got those emails and passwords. And it's very easy to find leaked data on the internet. So for an example, let's go to Have I Been Pwned? I'll show you something. Have I Been Pwned? So if you guys can check this out. All right, so let's go to this fancy, great database.
Yeah, someone said TryHackMe has different paths for you to start to learn what the job entails for free. Read about everything and see what piques your interest and dig into it. Everyone's path is different.
Exactly. Thank you, Todd. Fair enough. That's so true. So for example, passwords. Let's go to passwords, for example. And say, for example, I'm not going to put my real password in here, but say, for example, password, just the word password, right? So if your password was password, which I hope it's not, if we put password here, we put have it been pwned, and there's bloody hell, almost 10 million passwords that have been used with an account, right? And obviously you can dig deeper. And say, for an example, let's go back to home, and I'll put an old email that I have. You can try to hack it. That's all good. It was Gorman71@Hotmail, right? This was an email that I had. I don't even know. I don't know. So 5 data breaches. This might be a little small for you guys. Sorry. So there's 5 data breaches, and exploit MySpace. I did use this for MySpace back in the day. And that's pretty much all I used it for. I don't know what this verifications.io is, but MySpace, and it was about 2000. I was still in college. So yeah. So now I can say, okay, this email has been pwned. Now we know this password is out there in the wild. Maybe you can go on sec lists. Maybe they have a MySpace, password list that they found, they put together, and bada bing, bada boom, you can get this email and start spraying it with a password list and just, spray and pray. So, please, what is the best work for? Oh, API, you got the wrong dude. I don't know anything about that world. Because I know some hackers and breach it. Yeah. Sorry, Sunday, I don't know your name, but I don't know anything about API hacking.
Sunday, there. If you Google API University, I'm friends with the CEO of API University. Look, Google API University, and they have 2 courses on API vulnerability and hacking, and it's free. Just so you're aware. I'm gonna send you that because I'm friends with the CEO of that company. They have like 46,000 students on it. So
Awesome. Cool. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, because
Yep.
I don't know anything about that. All right, so let's get down to some questions because we've already been 30 minutes jibber jabbing, yapping my mouth. All right, so the goals of the red team engagement will often have referred to flags or the crown jewels, right? They said something about crown jewels up here. Every red team engagement will start with defining clear goals, often referenced as crown jewels or flags. All right, so you can get the answer right there. During a red team engagement, common methods used by attackers to emulate blah, 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 such called TTPs, and TTPs stand for tactics, techniques, and procedures. Number 3 here, the main objective for red team engagement is to detect as many vulnerabilities in as many hosts as possible. No, that's not the objective. Doesn't matter, for red teaming, a red team engagement doesn't really do much, So a pen test is normally like maybe 40 hours, 1 week. You have an engagement. Your objective is to find and try to compromise whatever in 40 hours. Red team engagement can last 6 months, a year, whatever, however long you want to have your red team engagement for. So that's just a little insight on that. All right, number 4 here. Question, great. API University, right? Yeah, I guess so. I guess, Kev, if you find that link, you just throw it in there.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now. That they I met them through so I went to an API conference event. I didn't even know they existed. I got a free book about API vulnerability and hacking from
Okay, cool. All right, yeah.
Corey J. Ball. I'm not sure if you know who he is, but
No, it's in the chat. I threw it in the chat there. It's the university.apisec.ai. So
Yep.
it's in the chat.
Yep.
All right. So task number 4 here is teams and functions of an engagement. All right. So we have the red cell, blue cell, white cell, and everyone has their different. I think my recommendation, if you want to try to follow along, just jump on this with me and just, if you want to go ahead and read every single word, you can go ahead and read every single word. Well, I'm not doing that. All right, definitions. So you can look at this red team guide here, and you can see, some other cool stuff. This is pretty informative, pretty good stuff. All right, just wanted to throw that out there. And these terms and cells to break down. So you have your white cell, your trusted agent, this is a cycle, right? This is the little hierarchy. All right, since red team, blah, blah, blah. All right, so the roles, we have a red team lead, red team assistant lead, and the red team operator. This is pretty much the roles in an engagement. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, so I'm saying thank you, just talking to the gods, right? Jesus talks to me sometimes, but Jesus, I'm just kidding. But what cell is responsible for the offensive operation of an engagement? Obviously the red cell. If you come up here, the red cell, and this is responsible for, all right? So what cell is the trusted agent considered part of? The white cell, right? So if you come back up here, you can see the white cell is the trusted, and you can just, like I said, read more on it on here. Like I did this box, I don't remember, or this room so long ago. So yeah, any questions on this? This is pretty self-explanatory, pretty straightforward. The teams and functions of an engagement. Right. So I just want to try to, get through this as quickly as I can. So engagement structure. We have, the kill chain, the unified kill chain. I did some videos on these actually, and this is what intrigued me to do these. Active Directory, the MITA. I think the MITA attack framework is super, super critical to know. Each tactic, there's so many. Say, for an example, you want to understand lateral movement. Let's just do lateral movement. You click on lateral movement, and you can look at different kinds of things. Okay, RDP hijacking, which is remote desktop protocol, right? And we say, okay, WannaCry. All right, then you can see, the purpose, the procedure examples, and then, the mitigations. How can you mitigate that? Audit, disable feature, blah, blah, blah. And this is pretty good to understand. And a lot of people, including myself, I'm not excluding myself, like, don't take advantage of this, right? I do the last probably 2 or 3 years, but before that, like, I was like, this is way too much information. It's overwhelming, right? It's way too much, and I'm good. I'll just Google it real quick. But understanding this and getting into the nitty gritty of the MITA attack framework, like, will definitely benefit for sure. So that's just my 2 cents. All right. So if we come down, obviously you can see the kill chain here: recon, weaponization, delivery, exploitation, installation, CNC, and actions of objectives. Right. So these are the components. These are the purposes. Obviously, we all know what recon is. Obtain information on target, harvesting emails, OSINT, and stuff like that. Reconnaissance, I think, is the most important phase. That's just my opinion, because the more information you have, the easier it is to attack the target. Weaponization, you can exploit, create an exploit and weaponize that, right? Like it says, malicious document files. And I was actually, testing some stuff with Red Canary on some macro injections, and it's fun. Weaponizing stuff is always fun. Delivery, obviously, how we're going to go ahead and deliver it: email, web, USB. USBs are always fun. You can have, like, a rubber ducky or this malware. When you inject it in your USB, it does its thing. Actually, I have an old iPhone, and I think I want to make a video on it, but I don't know if the YouTube University will get mad at me. But I have a old iPhone that my daughter made a password for, and she doesn't remember it, and I don't know it. So with the like this little guy, the flipper, right? The little flipper, you can brute force your way in, and hopefully you'll find my password and I can change it.
Sorry, Pat, to interrupt you. Thank you, Clever Dust, for the $10 super chat. We appreciate you.
Oh, awesome IP config. Thank you. If that's you, dude, thanks, dude. I'm trying to read. Thanks for all your awesome tutorials. Your expertise has been very. Thank you.
IP config. Yep. Thank you, man.
It is, man. Much love, kid. And yeah, so USBs is definitely some cool stuff. And then exploitation, right? Exploiting the target, executing code, like this says MS17010, which is that Eternal Blue, zero logins, etc. Installation, installing malware, other tooling, Mimikatz. Oh, that's what Kev's favorite is. You can do a video on Mimikatz. And what is So do you know what Mimikatz is, Kev? Like, what is Mimikatz?
I mean, it's when you have Kali Linux and you have a third-party tool, and you could Mimikatz is like a tool to help you exploit vulnerabilities for, like, Active Directory or other stuff you could do. Like, there's like so many things you could do with it. Like, you could have a party. You'll have a party if you're with Mimikatz if you're attacking service accounts on Active Directory, or you have a party with that if you're doing password spraying.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. So that's what I'm familiar with it. But I'm familiar with that side of it, because that's what I deal with every day at my job, because it's all AD stuff. But for someone else, they'll probably do something else. So.
Yeah. So, like, the purpose that I would use Mimikatz for is to dump the hashes, dump your credentials. So if I'm on your machine, if I finally get it, I can do dumping your creds. That's pretty much, I don't want to get into it too much, but yeah, like, you can do quite a few things with Mimikatz. It's a pretty cool tool. All right. And then CNC, obviously, control the compromised assets with a remote control center. Empire, Cobalt Strike. These are, well known as Sliver. There's so many different CNCs. You can even use Metasploit is one. All right, cool deal. So, action of objectives, obviously exfiltrate the data. What is the main purpose of all this cool stuff? I'll get your shit. You know what I mean? Get your stuff, girl. But So yeah, so so I'm fucking. It's Saturday morning. What is it today? Sunday morning.
Show me money.
So if an adversary deploys Mimikatz on a target, what is the purpose? Blah. So installation, right? So they're trying to install something, and this is where it places in the Martin kill chain. Duh. Man, it's getting hot in here. All right. So what techniques? Excuse me. What
Yes.
techniques purposes to exploit? Thank you. Target system to execute code exploitation, right? All right. So, oh, there was an interactive thing. All right. So let's visit this site. I don't know what the hell this is. I forgot what the hell this is all about. All right. So I guess this is the red team rocks. This is the cool little. All right. So let's see what this is all about. Planning. Let's go to next here. Intelligent gathering technologies. I don't know if I made a video on this. I don't remember. Sometimes I just wake up and I'm like, yo, I'll just do this. All right. So let's see here. The red team engagement starts in the campaign, emails, blah, blah, blah. Found on LinkedIn. Yeah, cool deal. So we got Julie Smith and John. John A. I know what John. Fucking John. All right. So we got the blue team, phishing alert. To all the employees that please avoid open. All right. So obviously, this looks like a little bad news. Let's see, Benny Boots. All right, remember to attend the security awareness training or cybersecurity training on Monday at 10 o'clock. See you there. All right, Benny. All right, IT department. All right, so let's go to next here. There you go, Mimikatz. Now we just dumped those credentials. Cool. This is what we were just saying, right? Like, so now they just dumped those credentials. Now we have that, for example, the LTLM hash, and you can crack this with like John the Ripper, and you can just look at, the function for it and go to town. All right, next. Lateral movement, detect, blah, blah, blah. Attempts, suspicious logs. Okay. Pass the hash. So pass the hash is pretty much when I get that LTLMv2 hash. If I can't crack the password, or if I don't want to crack the password, I can just pass that around the network, and yeah, see if it's sticks. And if it sticks, then I can authenticate to a certain server, and we go on with our merry way. All right. I guess that's it. Answer the question. All right. Boom. You got it right. So I guess this was more like an informative thing, just a little whatever. All right. So let's X out of there. We got that right. And the conclusion. So pretty much an overview of red team engagements, right? This is pretty much what this was all about. So thank you, TryHackMe, for this one. So any questions on what time is it? So we did that in about 45 minutes. So
Not bad.
yeah. So it's so big for me. So yeah. So that was that. Any questions? Any input, Kev, that you want to put in? Like maybe something that you would add. I know this is a new area for you. So like you being new at it, like what is something that you take out of this?
For me, it would be understanding vulnerability assessment, understanding the different types of attacks that you can do, also understanding that people are very vulnerable. So, which is why and this is a conversation I had with Jeremy Ventura, where basically we talk about why security is important and how it's important, and also we talked about that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like, and this is probably, you get this a lot too, but correct me if I'm wrong, but basically like, as far as security is concerned, like don't be that person that says no to everything. So literally, I had this conversation with Jeremy Ventura. It's basically, when you work in cybersecurity, I know you want to block everything, but if you work in security, you should be able to block stuff. But at the same time, you should not be messing with someone's work, especially if you're working with people in financial firms or in hedge funds, or people working in their job, like their day-to-day job. Like if you're cybersecurity, you should not be saying no to everything and blocking everything. There's certain things there's like certain leeway you have to have as far as security is concerned. But the thing is too with security is that obviously we shut everything down, but there are certain things that we have to allow for productivity and for production, because, obviously we have to look at business needs and business case scenario, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, yeah. So I agree. I agree to that statement or that comment. Like, and what he's trying to say is pretty much like now we have um, access to YouTube. Oh, we don't want people accessing YouTube. We want to block YouTube because people are just going to be unproductive all day long because they're going to watch YouTube videos. But what if that one day you need a quick reference and the only thing is to, if you go Google it and it brings you to a quick 5-minute video that's on YouTube, and now when you go ahead and try to click on it, it's blocked because their manager thinks Sally next to you is always watching YouTube videos. So that's why I made it like, yeah, but blocking it can do. I agree to disagree, right? So now, if Sally's a slacker, first of all, get rid of her, right? Or like put something that eliminates access or for her, and you can do that, right? You can do it by user. You can, depending on your firewall, you can use URL filtering. You can use so many different tools that can limit access for specific users. So you can obviously, put in countermeasures like use iBoss, you can use Palo, you can use CrowdStrike, you can use so many different tools to block access to certain things. So that's what I would do. So yes, I agree. Like locking down the whole shebang is sometimes, it's going to limit productivity. But I think, having some leeway. Just for example, like previously where I worked a few years ago, they locked down my machine so much, right? I got around it because I knew how to get around certain things, but there were some things that I couldn't, right? Like, for example, downloading something. If I need to download Adobe Reader, right? And executables will get blocked because they don't want to execute. But what I can do, or downloading it, like if I download it, I couldn't download. So I can just go download it on PCB here, and then I can go into the BIOS. Oh, now I have a BIOS password. Oh, smack. So I'm not going to go into detail because if this person ever, that company ever, but I was able to get around that BIOS password. And then I was able to get it installed because I asked the help desk or put in my ticket. And it was like, oh, because even though you work in security, you work in this, you still have to put tickets in, which is, I think, is silly Billy, but we still have to put tickets in. Like everyone thinks, oh, shouldn't you have access to everything? No, there's separations of duties, right? So that's super important too. But yeah, so to answer your answer or to give a comment, yeah, I agree to disagree. So, but yeah, let's see. That's an hour.
that wasn't that bad.
So I think we can, if we just want to shoot the smack for a little bit, because I think going, and we can do, what's the next one here? That was fundamentals. Then next one is engagement. Let me see how big is this? How we could probably
Jesus Christ.
it's 10.
Oh my goodness.
We may have to just chill out for a bit. Let's see, scope. Yeah, this was a big one.
Yeah, it's too long.
Yeah, this was a long one because this one is like I had to download a file, I think. This one was download this file. Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, we could probably just do an hour today and call it a day, and then we'll go over this one next week because it's too long. It's way too long.
Yeah, so we'll hang out for a few more minutes, about 5-10 more minutes. If anyone has any questions, I'll let me stop sharing my screen and bring our stuff over here so I can see. And let's go through the chat. And I want to say thank you, everyone. Whoever watched it, whoever got information out of it, hopefully it was cool. But yeah, now you can open up for questions and answers. I don't even know how many people are on. I don't know where to see that. But yeah, if there's any questions, shoot it at me. I don't know. If not, Kev, what are you going to do for the rest of the day for your pretty Sunday? How's the weather in New York?
It's raining right now. It randomly started to rain, so I really can't do much outside. But I'll probably exercise.
Yeah.
Probably jog. If the rain doesn't really bother me as much because it could be raining, I still run outside regardless. It could be snowing outside, and I still run. It doesn't really
Yeah.
affect me as much. So
Cool. Yeah. I went to the gym already in the morning. I already did all my stuff. So after this, probably just clean up my house and descansar, chill out, relax.
so you say a lot of Spanish words. I didn't know tú hablas español
No, sí, ya hablo español.
un poquito.
No, bastante. I speak a lot.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. That's my
Crazy.
secret. Now it's live, right? Now it's live. Yeah, yeah.
So Pat, for someone trying to understand, like for we talked about DEF CON before,
Mhm.
like what is DEF CON and what is it? Like what is it for someone? Like what do you get out of it? I know you get credits for it if you do cybersecurity and you're trying to get certifications, but like what is DEF CON?
All right. I never been to DEF CON, right? This was in my first year in DEF CON. So obviously I watch videos. I know it's a conference, right? It's a hacking conference that they have little villages. They have different little things that they offer, maybe chats or little talks. Like John, and you guys probably know O'Day or Ryan Montgomery. He did a talk last year. He's going to be doing a talk this year. Yeah, it's just pretty much like an event full of hackers, right? And maybe I have no idea. That's just, maybe I can answer that question after I come back because then I'll have a little more insight. But, maybe we can, go live there and just say, hey guys, this is what it's all about. And this is what we're learning. And this is what this thing is. All right, Sunday, I'll get to that in a sec. But yeah, so that's pretty much what DEF CON is. It's pretty much a hacking conference that a whole bunch of hackers go to, and maybe they have a CT. I don't know. Maybe they have a CTF challenge in one village. Maybe another village they're doing IoT. Maybe the other village they're doing, well, Tesla hacking. Hacking the newest and greatest car, whatever. Like that's from what I've gathered. If anyone in the chat or anyone after this video, if you watched it this long, and throw it in the chat. Like, what is DEF CON? Have you been to DEF CON? What is it? Like, what is your definition of DEF CON?
And I was gonna say that I like DEF CON, and then I like, just like B-sides, I like the social events because then that's where you take the opportunity to talk to hiring managers and job recruiters and people that are hiring, or vendors or people that that's why I join Pat social events, because I know that if I put my face out there and people know who I am and I make friends, and I get the opportunity not only to learn about other people, I collect business cards and I get to know people. And if you ever like need a reference or referral, something like, because you went in a social event, people know who you are now. So if you see a job posting, you can apply for a job. So I use social events as an engagement. I use social events as a LinkedIn branding and just getting your name out there. That's
Yeah.
how I use it.
So networking.
Networking aspect of it. Yep.
Cool. So I'm good with Qualys platforms, but find it hard. What is it? All right, cool. Thank you for putting that up because now I can see it because I'm here. I'm good with Qualys platforms, but find it difficult to find a job here in my country. All right, where are you first? When you said your country, where are you? If I was to look at your name, I would say Africa, but I'm not sure. Where? Algeria? I don't know. Are you Algerian? I don't know. But if it's outside the U.S.,
in South Africa.
South Africa, yeah, that's what I figured. So I think South Africa, yeah. So I think like, see, I can't answer that, dude. Like, it's hard for me because I don't know how the market is out there. But just having understanding of Qualys, if you guys don't know what Qualys is, it's a vulnerability management. It's doing vulnerability scanning, and you set up scans and all that stuff. So just having that under your belt, I don't think is enough, right? This is just saying you can set up a scan, you can press a button and watch paint dry. Doesn't mean you have any skills. That's all it is. You know, you don't have any skills running a vulnerability assessment. Like, that's just me. I don't know. Maybe someone else is different, but it's just saying I can put a range of IPs, and I'm just going to, you know, like I said, watch paint dry, watch water boil, whatever you want to say. Right. So I would add more to that skill, right? Start, okay, you're running Qualys, you're finding these vulnerabilities. Hopefully you're running Qualys on your own network, or if you're using this, however you're using it, when you find those vulnerabilities, what are you doing with them? Right? So once you have those vulnerabilities and you find them, now try to exploit them. That's when it gets a little, you know, sexy. You know what I mean? Now you're putting some, you know, peanut butter and jelly together, you know? So that's where I would go, and now you have something to write up. Maybe do a little blog, maybe put it on LinkedIn or whatever you want to do, and say, okay, I'm running Qualys against Metasploitable. You know, use something, a vulnerable web app or whatever, damn vulnerable web app or whatever you're going to run it against, and find the vulnerability, identify it, and then exploit it. And then that's where I think you'll start connecting the dots, and that's where I think it'll be more beneficial for you to, when you interview or something, say, okay, I didn't just run Qualys, because Qualys doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? Okay, it's like I ran a ping scan. You know, like, all right, I know these 10 hosts are up. Cool. Now what? You know? So that's just my take on that. So hopefully that adds to your fire to learn more and broaden your skills.
Yeah, I put a link. I put a link in there for Sunday. I put a link in there on LinkedIn in chat. That is Cyber Hunting Guide, and I'm friends with them. And I'm actually part of the article as well. I'm part of help desk in the article. But there's red team, blue team ideas on how to build home labs, and there's also how to fix your resume, absolutely free, for free. You don't gotta pay anything. It's everything. Ideas on home labs, preparing for the job interviews, how to do red team labs, blue team labs. Everything is free there. It's a website that I'm friends with Steven. He created that website, so definitely take a look at that. That should help you out. So
Cool. Yeah, I do forensics also. I love forensics. Me too. I did it for a few years for work years ago. I don't really talk about that side of me, but you know, you see probably one of the certs up there is my CHFI. And if you guys are interested in forensics, it's definitely super fun, right? E-discovery, getting into in-case, getting into I don't want to talk about that right now because we're about to wrap up, but doing forensics is definitely some fun stuff. Let's see, are there any certifications you would recommend for beginners? When you say beginner, identify beginner, right? Are you like, do you know what a computer is? Obviously, right? You're talking to us. Or do you know what networking is? Do you know how to set up your own network at home? If your network went out, can you troubleshoot your network? Not call Comcast or wherever you are, you know, Files, whoever, and just call your ISP, tell them to reboot your router. Like, you understand what it actually is. I don't want to say, can you build a computer? Because I don't build computers. But like, can you, I don't know. Do you know what those fundamentals are, I guess? If you do, you know, A plus, Network plus, Security plus is always a good one. I think those are definitely, and now you can go like, for like Kevin was saying before, Google certs. You can go for Microsoft certs, Cisco. If you want to go to like the cybersecurity side, you know, CYSA, Security Plus, Pentest Plus, just to really understand, like, if you're like already in the field and understand what the penetration testing and like the methodology is, and start like hands-on, you did Hack the Box, TryHackMe, build own labs, then it's a little different. Yeah, maybe go for the, you know, PNPT, or now they have the PJPT, I think, Practical Junior Penetration Tester, which I think is all internal pen testing, versus like the PNPT is like an external, then you pivot yourself in. There's others out there, but I'm not a, you know, like there's OSCP, OSEP.
He's talked about blue team, and the what I'm gonna recommend for you is the security blue team certification. If you're trying to get into blue team stuff, not sure if you took that certification, Pat, but it's pretty good.
No,
The
security team stuff I have my Security Plus.
So security blue team certification. They cover SOC with sim tools, and they do hands-on training, and they do lab work on top of doing blue team stuff. They do everything. So Not sure if you ever taken it, but people got jobs getting that certification. It's not like fake or BS or anything. So I'm gonna
Awesome. Yeah.
recommend
If
that
you
one.
want, shoot that link in the description. Shoot that link in the chat because that's something beneficial for sure. Like, I think that'll be good. And yeah, I haven't taken any like, I took like some CrowdStrike certs, but I don't really put them out there. Like, they're just, you know, yeah, whatever, advanced threat hunting and doing some stuff. Like, I've taken so many throughout the years, like certifications, like when I worked for the sysadmin, you know, all the Dell certs, all other ones and HP ones. And thank you guys. I really, yeah, kudos.
Yeah, it's recommended by CrowdStrike, Microsoft, and Malwarebytes. They all look at that certification as it's valuable. The blue team one. Yeah.
¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo te fue? Yeah. But yeah, so that's pretty much, you know, like that's the certifications I would recommend. I'm just looking at the chat as you speak. But yeah, like that's some good stuff. You know, cyber is such a broad field. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to master everything. Don't think you're going to be the man with the master plan for every single thing. Just take one step at a time and just take one step in front of the other. And that's it. That's all you can do. And one thing I would say is never compare yourself to the next person, because that shit will drive you bonkers. You know, don't think you have to be like someone, you know, like I'm just me. So I'm like, I care about people, but I'm never going to want to be like someone, you know what I mean? Like, and that's why I think a lot of people have that, like, oh, if I don't have this, I'm nothing. Or if I'm not on this person's level, I'm not going to succeed. You know what I mean? Stay in your own lane. That's all you have to do, and just do you. You know what I mean? Like, that's one, you know, outside the box advice. I don't know. What is your take on that? Like, did you ever find yourself comparing yourself to others and trying to be like someone, or like, okay, like I see this person's success, I'm never going to, you know, achieve that? Or if like, have you ever felt? I never felt like that because.
No, I always compare myself to Batman, but I'm not Batman. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so. What is your take on that? Like, have you or seen other people? And how would you address that? Like, if you had that thought, like, oh, I want to be like, you know, not like Batman. Like, for an example, I can say to myself, oh, I wish I was the guy that was at the gym. I'm like, this dude is fucking jacked. And I'm like some flaquito. And I'm not on that guy's level. So it's like, I'm not good enough because I'm not benching 400 pounds. I'm only benching 315. You know what I mean? So have you ever found yourself in that area of space?
Yeah, no, I have. When I was almost 200 pounds and I was a size 40 and I dropped to a size 32, I'm like 32, 34 now, losing weight. Because if you watch any of my old videos, I was a gordito, I was fat.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I had this thing that where, oh yeah, why am I not like this person, or why am I not like that person? And you know, long and behold, like you realize that, you know, you realize that everything's a process, and
Mm-hmm.
that you can't compare yourself to someone else, and it takes time. Like at the end of the day, it takes time, and you realize that your progress is going to be a lot slower compared to the other person, because they already are there. You're not there yet, so you can't really do anything. You just gotta, you know, like ride the wave and enjoy the journey, and that's
Mm-hmm.
it. That's how I look at it. So yeah, it was hard at the beginning, but then after that, you tend to realize that, you know, you're not the same as the other person. So don't compare yourself to someone else.
Kudos. Yeah. Amen to that. So I guess we'll wrap up now. Like, any last words, Kev? Like, what would you tell people that want to get into IT? Let's talk for your wave for a minute. Like, how can people find you? How can people get on your wave?
Yeah, you guys can find me as KevTech IT Support. You can find me as Kevin Apollinario. You can find me in KevTechITSupport.com. I do have a website, and Pat is in there, and a bunch of other YouTube content creators are there. I also like to say thank you, Pat, for inviting me, but also thank you to the people that are watching today, because I know you guys have better things to do, and you guys actually joined us today. So I appreciate that. And I know that We could be a little boring sometimes. We try not to make it boring. We try to make it entertaining for everyone. And yeah, I appreciate you guys for coming in today on LinkedIn and on YouTube. That's it for me.
Yeah, awesome. And likewise, my last words. Thank you, everyone, for the support. Thank you. I forgot who. I think it was IP Config for contributing to the channel. It means a lot. Like it goes right back into the channel. Doesn't go into my pocket. Everything I do is going back to this. And have a blessed weekend, everyone. And until next time, have a good one. That's all I can say. Thanks, bro.